It's a sexy book.
Yeah. I want to get it now after reading it. Well, so say all this shit. We're wasting content now.
Yeah.
Edited it. Are we in the
All right.
podcast already? Is this
Probably.
it?
Knowing.
We might be. It's all being recorded. Hello, everyone. This is a fun little thing we're doing. It's the Edo Comics cast.
Hey!
Yeah,
Ben
I
introed
definitely
it.
did that very well first time.
Very nice. Welcome, Ben.
If you're wondering who I am, Will, who am I?
Ben, you would know Ben as a person that is an architect, right? You're an architect.
Architect?
Yeah.
Am I?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a bit. I want this bit to continue for all the comic casts. I'll come up with a new thing that you are. And
Yeah,
you will
okay, I'm an
agree.
architect.
Sure.
Good.
And then it'll all
Sure.
build on it. And then by the end of
Yep.
it, it'll be like all these different jobs that all interconnect that I'll work
Yeah,
out
totally.
before the next one that I just decided just now.
I'm so glad that we were alerted to this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally planned, as you can tell.
100%.
So, what is it? Where I basically, on Christmas Day, I think?
Yeah.
I was in the middle of the day, I was between events, and I was like, alright, I'm going to message Will. Send him a lovely message. I was like, thank you. Last year was awesome. Because, I didn't want to be totally like, and I have this idea. The message was heartfelt, I meant it all, but I was also like, I want to pad it out a bit because I had an idea, and so I was like, all right, I want to do a comic book cast. No one knows who I am, you know who these guys are,
Don't
and
agree.
also,
My bad. That just happened. It happened. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
yeah, and so I was like, what if I did a comic book cast for you guys, because I've been reading a bunch more comic books over the past couple of years, and I was like, I feel like I could do a good job hosting a little bit of comic books cast. These guys did, you would have seen in the past year, you guys did Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you do any other one last
We
year?
did a couple of comic book clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, comic book clubs.
But yeah.
That's right. And I was like, I want to do that every month. And Will was like, sounds sick.
I don't.
And I was like,
and so you could do that, and that'll make it easier for all of us.
Hell yeah.
yeah. So then I was like, cool, that'll be fun. A couple days passed, and then we were like, all right, here's my plan. Got a list of stuff to do. And I was like, this will be fun. So we decided the first comic book we would be doing would be this one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Vision for the audio listeners.
Yeah.
Yes,
For the audio
Vision.
listeners
Yeah.
that clicked on the podcast called The Vision Comic Cast, if you didn't know, the book that is being held up is The Vision.
This is the
Oh, yeah.
Vision. I've got a hard copy. It's really cool.
It's
Yes.
so
Comic
cool.
book.
It's the best, I don't know what issue that is, but it's the best cover. I love it.
Yeah, great cover art. It's just
issue-
such a I don't know. It's just got good style. It's like the inside of
Like Civil War and stuff?
Yeah, Avengers vs X-Men.
Yes. Yeah.
The Avengers vs X-Men always had everyone involved, or everyone in the entire thing that was involved, but then only the people in that issue were colorized.
That's right, yeah.
Everyone else was like black or white or whatever. And it
Yeah.
looks like that sort
I got
of
that
layout,
vibe.
that sort of cool style, or
I think it's like-
Infinity or one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks great.
I think it's like issue 10 or something.
Yeah, cool.
When I'm editing this, I'll chuck it up on the screen and stuff.
Yeah,
so
sweet.
You'll
I'll double
find
check.
out anyway.
Got
But
digital access to them.
yeah, I was like, let's do this comic. It's a sick comic. It's like probably one of my favorite comics. And then I opened it up to start writing notes for it, and I was like, this may have been a mistake. It's a dense comic. So normally my idea for these comic book podcasts was that we would open it up with a little bit of a what we've been reading section. We're just going to get straight into this comic because this first one hasn't been a lot of time since I gave Will this idea, so
Yeah.
I haven't read much other than this. And also, yeah, I've literally only been reading this. It's so much, but it's so good.
It's so good.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. And you were correct. It was issue 10.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
Nailed it. He's the
so
master.
good.
This is why he's doing
This is-
this.
Master of the Vision.
Exactly. This
it.
is why I'm the host.
And I'll also just super quickly say, part of it seemed like part of Ben's idea, or maybe a bit of back and forth with Will, is that these will relate to a thing that's actually happening. Like,
Yes.
so this is linking in with WandaVision, new series starting next week.
Well, in the context of when you're watching that, everyone knows what the show's like. This is coming out the week after the show started.
Ah, there you go. Cool.
So everyone knows
Yeah.
what it's like, if it has any relation to the Vision or not.
There you go. I had no idea.
At the
Yeah.
very least, he has a plaid shirt. So there's at least
totally.
there's
Yeah.
a link.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it seems very like similar-ish, because it's like just
Real
wanting to like have a nice little family and stuff. That's what this whole story is
Yeah,
about.
basically that's the idea. So this year there's like so much coming out. It's
So
ridiculous. So there'll be pretty much something, I mean, provided this goes well, there'll be pretty much something every month related to something that's coming out. Mostly Marvel, because like all the stuff is backed up. But there's a couple DC ones planned in there.
Yep.
And yeah, so this month will be Vision. Next month will be House of M, which is based around mainly Wanda, but like mutants as well and stuff, because I figured that would tie in well with WandaVision. And then the rest of them will share over the course of the year.
Yeah, nice.
Still kind of deciding the minutiae of them. But let's get into this one.
Please.
Time.
Do it. Take us away.
So we're going to start off with a few little facts. I don't know if you want to call these something fun. I've just called them fact sheet.
We'll work out something for the future. I've got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the sky and there's nothing.
Very straightforward. This is great.
Listeners, give us ideas.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name our segments.
So this one is written by Tom King. Tom King is like an amazing comic book writer. It's the only Marvel series he's done, I believe. I don't even think he's done many like single issues. He does a lot of DC stuff. He did a Batman run between 2016 and 2019. And that was like very widely regarded.
Cool.
And he won an Eisner Award, which is like the comic book awards that they give out every year, for Best Writer for that Batman run.
Sick.
He's very good. Read his other stuff. His first series, I was doing a bit of research on him, was in 2014, and it was called Grayson.
Oh, cool.
And basically, apparently it's like, it's about Dick Grayson, obviously, but when he was neither Robin or Nightwing, and so it's kind of like a Detective 007 kind of vibe. So
Sick.
I think we're going to go back and read that at some point.
Yeah,
That's really
I'm
interesting.
keen for that. It's so funny because his name is so prevalent in my mind, but
Yeah.
now being like, oh, it's just this. This is why I know him. The
It's
Vision.
just this. So, artists. We have two main artists for this one. So they did all the like line art for the comics. These comics were colored by someone else. So the line artists for this were Gabriel Hernandez Walter, who did basically all the issues but issue 7, which is done by Michael Walsh. And when we get to that, that'll be issue 7 is a cool little issue because it goes into like some historical stuff with Wanda and Vision. So that's a fun little one to get to. Basically, these guys have done a bunch of stuff with Marvel. Walter's done a bunch of Doctor Strange stuff, Astonishing X-Men, Occupy Avengers, a lot of Magneto stuff.
Cool.
And then Walsh did the adaptation for The Last Jedi, which I thought was pretty cool. It's done like some post-fraction Hawkeye, Rocket, Raccoon, and Groot standalone series, and yeah, a bunch of other stuff. So both pretty well-renowned artists amongst Marvel stuff. And the color artist, Geordie Belair, won a couple of Eisner Awards actually for cover art and coloring, and yeah, has done Moon Knight, Hawkeye. I think she's worked with Walter on a lot of stuff, so
Cool.
they're kind of like a line art, color art combo, which is cool.
Nice.
And another cool thing about her, she apparently has worked extensively to try and like make the comics community more inclusive.
That's never a bad thing.
Yeah.
No, literally never a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then the other kind of facts I was going to share, this comic book won the Eisner Award for Best Limited Series or Story Arc in 2017. It's because it's very good.
It is.
And it's only the second run of comics where Vision is the sole titular character. So the other one was in 1994, and it was just like a little 4-issue run.
Yeah, I did. I did
kinda-
see that when I was looking it up on Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just searching for it, and I just typed in Vision, and it was just this one from like 2014 or whenever it was.
Yeah.
And then that one from 1994.
Which
Like, what?
I got. Do you remember at Comic Kings when they were having a big clear out sale? I got like a pack
Yeah.
of 4 comics.
Yeah.
And it's that run. It was
Huh.
the Vision comics.
Sick.
Yeah.
There you
that's
go.
really
Which
cool.
I only just remembered when you said there were other ones. And I'm like, I have those other ones.
Nice.
Read it at all?
That's cool.
No, I haven't read them, but the beauty of Marvel Unlimited, which as we go through this
Yeah.
year, would love that sponsorship.
Yeah,
The beauty,
please.
I'm just never gonna crack them open now. I'll just read them on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm the same. I literally only read this one like hard copy this time because I was like, I just got it, and I was like, yeah,
You might as well.
yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Good
read it as a
call.
hard copy.
Nice.
But yeah, I did a bit of research into it. It doesn't look that good, but
Yep.
I thought it was fun. So if you want to go check that out, it'll
might
be
do.
on Marvel Unlimited. It's
Yeah.
like 1994, I think. So
Cool.
Yeah, I think it was that.
all right, we're kind of gonna go issue by issue. Feel free to jump in at any time.
Absolutely.
Sure thing, man.
I'm just gonna go through like plot points, that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the first issue is called Visions of the Future.
Good name.
Very good name. There's a lot of puns.
Some great puns with these, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we start off, you kind of get like an image of like a DC neighborhood. And for me, this was very funny because I actually went on like a school exchange history tour like a little while ago.
Yeah, wow.
Like maybe, oh man, it's 2021. Maybe I won't say when, but last decade sometime. Anyway, basically, I stayed in suburban Virginia and Maryland, which is like around DC. That's where this is set. It's boring as heck. They captured it perfectly. It's
Yeah.
literally
Nice. That's
just,
so
like,
cool. Wow.
pretty boring suburban areas, very white. But yeah, no, I thought this was like a really good way of capturing that. And we kind of get introduced to it through George and Nora, who are the neighbors. And I have in my notes here, George is an asshole
Yeah.
and has baked them cookies.
Yeah.
George
Yeah.
is kind of right though. They don't eat cookies.
They don't.
Nah. But
Yeah, they don't eat anything.
I freaking love their intro. I think I sent Will
Yeah.
a screenshot when we were doing this because it just says "Behold" with a name,
Yeah.
George and Nora. And I love
Yeah.
every time. Well, not every time, but every now and again they'll introduce a character and it'll always be "Behold"
Yeah.
something. And I think that's
Yeah.
a throwback to Vision's first appearance
Yeah.
or Vision's like primary
Yeah.
appearance where. It's him on the cover,
Yeah.
and it's just him saying, "Behold, I am the Vision," or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So
it's so good.
Such a good use of comedy for the introduction of all these characters within his own arc.
Yeah.
It's a throwback to
Absolutely.
his original.
And like the first time I read it, I was like, man, this is too wordy. I don't know why everyone loves this. But
Yeah.
the eyes, I just wanted to mention the eyes of the Visions, like across these whole comics. They're like terrifying. Like, they're just white holes.
Yep.
I don't know, like, he's not really like that in every comic. Like, if you go back and look through, like, the art of him in other ones, it kind of, like, goes back and forth about how he's depicted. But I think, I mean, that was definitely a choice. It kind of sets up the terrifying vibe of the family that very much is carried out throughout this, which there's stuff happens. The first, like, really important thing, I guess, is we get introduced to, like, 4 artifacts
Yes.
that the Vision family have in their house. So these were artifacts that were given to Vision by various members of the Avengers. So we have a piano from Wakanda, which was given to him by Black Panther. The flying water vase of Zenlar, which was given to him by the Silver Surfer, is the cool little wibbly wobbly thing.
It's so
Yeah.
cool.
It's
I love it.
We have a lighter from D-Day that Cap used back then. And then the clipped Everbloom from Mount Wundagore, which will be very important. That one was from the witch. We don't know which witch.
Which?
Which witch. And we learn that those petals can unlock the doors of time, which makes Virginia very uncomfortable. Virginia is the wife of Vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing I don't like about Virginia is she's the only one of them that can't have their name shortened in like a cool
Yeah.
way. So you have the 2 kids who are Viv and Vin, and you have Vision, who you can just call Viz.
Yep.
And you have Virginia, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
So
Vig.
There's definitely possibilities, but none of them should be said.
Yeah.
as,
None of them are good.
as a shortened name.
So it's just going to be something that bugs me across all of this, and
Yeah.
I may stumble over it a few times
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
fair.
very annoying. But what can we do?
Yeah.
I blame Tom King for that.
I was
one.
gonna say it's all on him. Maybe it
Yeah,
was
absolutely.
like No, I mean he's got 2 names that are so short. Maybe it was like a curse he wanted to put on one of his characters. Yeah. He's like, I've been stuck with 2 short names all my life. Yeah. You'll be stuck with a long one.
Yeah. No, I gave him too much praise at the start, and now I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, no. We need to bring him down a peg.
Yeah.
Tom Prince.
And then Tom Prince, exactly. In these kind of like early pages, there's one other thing that it's like a little bit of a quote that I'm going to read out because I thought it's very cool. So it goes, later, near the end of our story, one of the visions will set George and Nora's house on fire. They will die in the flames. George's last thought will be of Nora, how he found his true love, and regrets little of what came after. Nora's last thought will be about the water bays of Zenla. She'll wonder why it was empty. And I just thought that sets up their relationship and just breaks it down like brilliantly in like 3 pages.
Yeah.
Like they're not that significant of a character. Like they're introduced here and then we're told they're killed and you don't really see them for a little while. But we get so much just from like that little sentence about their relationship, which is such good writing.
Yeah. And it's such an interesting little line here as well, because this seems to happen multiple times throughout the series where they tell you that something is going to happen to these people.
Yeah.
Or like it sets up that thing and they're just like, yeah, this is going to happen later, just so you know. Like it's like spoilers, but they're doing it. It's real weird, but it's such a interesting, like, I don't know, it gives you the extra information that you need, even if it's not really relevant.
You get a lot of, this is their fate, and you're like, oh, okay,
relevant.
you're just telling us that. It's a good approach, I think. It kind of works out very well once it all comes together at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
We then see Vision and Virginia talking about the word nice for a little bit. It's fun. They're kind of just, there's a lot of them debating the meaning of words because they're robots, you know.
Yep.
Vision then flies to his job at the Oval Office, and it's very funny because he's in full costume and it just doesn't work. You see him in like the rest of the comic and he's just in like normal attire. And then every now and then he pops up in his full costume and you're like, oh yeah, he looks a bit dumb.
Yeah, totally. It flips the thing of that's the costume. Like usually just seeing him in normal clothes would be the exception, but now the costume is the weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I like that.
It's cool.
And then Virginia is sad, which happens a lot. Vision's maybe kind of a bad husband. We get those kind of vibes. Then that kind of brings up one of the big themes we see across the whole series, which is like the family is kind of like striving for humanity. They want to be more human. They want to incorporate aspects of human lives into their lives. But then is that worth it when like you get all the flaws that come with it? Like humans are obviously very flawed. And robots theoretically are not. But then if they're striving to be human, it creates all these issues. And I think, like, I don't know, I kind of find this really interesting because if you look at MCU Vision, the whole thing is like they create Ultron as kind of this terrible evil character who just thinks like a robot and thinks logically about everything. And Vision kind of comes in and is like, well, but I have aspects of humanity and like that's important because that gives me compassion and all these things. But I think what this comic book does really interesting is like maybe that's not so good. So I kind of hope they go into that in one.
Yeah, that is one of the things that like reading through this, I was like, it's such a different universe to what the MCU, at least so far, has built.
Yeah,
like especially for Vision, he is at this point obviously is getting a whole entire TV series devoted to him. I'm sure this will change. A very one-note villain in that it's like. Yeah. These are his morals, and to him, these are good, and no one is able to shake that. Even Wanda, he kind of brings her around to it. So, yeah, it would be cool to see if, that all goes bad. But he's dead? I don't know. We'll find out in WandaVision. Yeah, we'll find out what happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing with this as well is, like, the family is striving for it, but they're striving for it because Vision has told them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like it wasn't exactly their choice to do it. They're just doing it because their dad is pushing them to do it, I guess, and they're like, we're going to be a normal family.
Which is very human.
Which is, it's kind of,
totally.
It's very much just like the dad just being like, we're normal, okay?
Yeah.
Just act normal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a comic book about robots that's a really interesting, like, examination on humanity.
Yeah.
It's neat.
100%.
And then we see Vision and Virginia in beds, but they're in separated beds, which is like the 50s sitcom thing. Which, again, WandaVision, it's in the trailers. It's very cool little detail.
Yeah.
Vision doesn't really love his wife, and we find out that he stole the brainwaves from someone else for her. It goes from 0 to 100 very quickly. Viv gets stabbed.
That's the daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, the daughter. Yeah.
Daughter gets stabbed with like a big scythe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember in the actual comic what happens. I feel like they're just having a conversation, and then Vision goes somewhere.
I think Vision's like at work or something.
Yeah.
I think he's
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're having a conversation.
Yeah, and then
It's mum.
the mum and the kids are just having a conversation about like how do we do this? What are we doing? Kind of thing. And then suddenly the scythe just breaks through the
scythe just
kitchen
goes
wall.
through.
It's like right through the freaking wall.
Yeah.
Wild.
And then the Grim Reaper enters and
Hell
has a
yeah.
dumbass suit and a scythe hand. And
hence
it's
the
great.
scythe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Grim Reaper.
basically. And then we see Virginia flat out murder him, which is fun.
Straight up.
And while doing so, we get a little explanation about why the vase is always empty. And the narrator over the top kind of says, why would anyone make such a vase? Yes, it's a good question.
Yeah. And the reason why it is empty is because the water in it is poisonous to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you can't-
literally,
No
can't
one
put
can drink it,
plants
not
in
even
or
a
anything.
plant. It will just kill the plant. So it's like, why would anyone make this?
Why would
vase?
they make that?
Crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's basically the end of that issue. So it ends on a very interesting note. which
Freaking
is
great
called
intro, though.
Yeah.
What a great way to
beginning.
start up your series.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's amazing. So this next issue is called Everything Slips Through Their Fingers. Not as good of a name as the first one.
Yep.
Yep.
There's a pun there.
I get it.
okay.
I get what
There
they're
is a-
going for.
They were
Yeah.
going for something. I don't know if they hit it, but yeah, it's a horror series in case you didn't realize.
It very much turns out to be that. Yeah. Not what I expected.
No, if you've been reading this for the first time, you will be like, oh, okay, that's where they go with this. It's just, it kind of comes completely out of nowhere. Even reading it for a second time, like how quickly things happen, it like kind of shocked me again. I was like, oh, that's right. They just go straight into it.
Yeah. Yeah, this was
and
my
so-
first time reading it, by the way. I think you guys had
yeah.
read it once before
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was my first time. This was freaking awesome. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
good.
that's
Couldn't
awesome.
put it down.
Yeah, so we're introduced to this one where Vin is disappearing through the floor of the school that he and Viv go to. And then Viv is like in the other panel and she has cables coming out of like literally every part of her body and is screaming mother.
Yep.
And we get Virginia retelling the story of what happened the previous night to Vision as well. We kind of get the backstory that the Reaper was Wonder Man's brother. And Wonder Man was the template for Vision in the comics. So that's kind of, I think there's a bit of dialogue between them in that first issue about like how you're imitating my family or something. It's all about like weird relationship stuff. Are they related? That kind of thing. And then basically Virginia lies about how the fight ends to Vision, saying that the Reaper ran away after stabbing Viv. And then we go back to Vin, who is very sad because his sister got stabbed, which is fair enough.
It's fair.
Absolutely fair,
yeah.
yeah.
He's kind of just sitting there on his own in the cafeteria and you feel sorry for him. And then someone kind of comes and bullies him and you're like, that's a bit rough. Don't bully him.
Chris Kinski.
Chris Kinski.
Bloody
Be
CK.
very-
CK they kind of refer
CK.
to.
Louis.
Yeah,
Louis CK.
I'll probably jump between Chris and CK. But,
Yeah, yeah. Let's go with
yeah,
that.
I did it in my notes, and I was like, "This is gonna get very confusing." Then there's like a line from the narrator who says, "Humans can be turned off by the press of a button as well," as Vin is choking out this guy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "That is terrifying."
It's an
I do not like to think about.
it's an
that.
intense thing to say
Yeah,
to human
totally.
readers. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think I remember when I read this the first time, it was one of the things that like put into perspective of just how fragile we are.
yeah.
Where
Oh,
it
yeah,
is just
totally.
like, you can't just kill a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he kind of just they leave that there. He's like lying on the floor.
I very
And I
much
think
thought
that's-
that he was gone.
Yeah, the first time I read this, I thought he was dead as well, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's a choice they made."
Yeah, because I think they show Vin's hand like through his neck.
Yeah,
So it seemed like Vin was literally like holding onto this guy's jugular vein
Yeah.
on the inside or something. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
freaking intense.
A lot of phasing through the body to hurt.
There are,
There's a
yes.
lot of this happening, yeah. This is a horror comic, guys.
yeah, it's a horror comic. And then we cut to Vision and Virginia in the principal's office. The principal likens the kids to being guns, and he's like, I wouldn't allow any of my other students to have guns, so why should these kids be in my school? Which is a fair point. And then Vision basically flexes on him and has been like, I saved the world 37 times.
Which is a thing that he keeps bringing up throughout this whole series.
It doesn't work.
I love it. It's so funny. It's so funny.
If I want my kids to be at this school, they'll be at this school, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Interesting.
Don't know if that works how you think it does, bud, but sure.
Yeah. It's basically blackmail, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing with, like, Vision, because he is not human. Like, you could look at it as a boast, but it's also him being like, this is what I have done for humanity. Like, factually, I am better than you. You need to keep my son here.
Yeah.
Like, you could look at it as a very human thing or a very, like, robotic, here are the facts.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
So, yeah, Vin only gets suspended despite, like, seemingly murdering a kid from what
Yeah.
we know at this point, which is, sure. And they fly home together, Vision and Virginia, and they have like a cute conversation and kind of realize that Viv might be able to be fully repaired, and you kind of get a little bit of like maybe love creeping in between the two of them, maybe. And then Virginia feels joy for the first time since she murdered that guy. Basically, that's what they tell her. But then immediately afterwards, she finds a phone in their floating mailbox, which is very cool.
Yeah, I do like the mailbox.
It's pretty sick. I think I'd seen I think it's issue 2 actually that has the cover with the visions on it, and I think I just assumed this whole thing was called The Visions. All my life.
Yeah.
I thought this was called The Visions, so when I actually looked it up and it's The Vision, I was like, it's weird. It's like a bit of a what's the thing? Mandela effect.
Yeah.
But just on myself.
I thought it was The Visions as well, but then I was actually thinking about it and I was like, actually, both of them would have a double meaning. But I was like, an hour ago, I was literally like, oh, it has a double meaning. I only just realized that. Like,
the word The Vision.
There's like a main vision, like that covers this whole thing. But then actually, multiple visions would probably make more sense because there's multiple visions.
The Visionverse.
So maybe it should be called The Visions. Again, Tom King made a mistake.
I don't know what's below a prince. I got nothing. Continue.
Duke, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. Tom Duke.
Yeah.
Did you only just get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
From before? I said Tom. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I think I missed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. Ben, take us away.
But yeah, so she finds a phone in the mailbox and it has a video of her burying Wonder Man. Not Wonder Man, Reaper.
Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Reaper, who's Wonder Man's brother.
Look, they're all... The
They're all
MCU
the
definitely
same.
did the right thing by just making all that a little bit more simple.
Yeah. Ultron created Vision. Sick.
The end.
Done.
I would have liked maybe a bit, Hank Pym should have been there. The whole Hank Pym putting a bit of his personality, all that. That's a lot more cool in the comics, but we weren't at that point. It's fine.
That's for the Avengers game, Will.
Yeah, we'll leave
You know
it for
that game?
Yeah.
That's kind of the end of that issue. And then we go into issue 3, which is called In and Out. Again, kind of stepping down from the names.
Yeah. I'm looking at issue 4 and I'm like, that's a pun, but I don't think it's the pun that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But we'll get there.
Exactly.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah. Hello. Editor Ben here. Turns out In and Out was actually a very good joke, and we were wrong in the podcast because, computers have in and out ports, and Vision and Virginia are computers. So this one starts with like an interesting little bit of narration, basically about how there's a single word for every kind of person, implying racist ones, xenophobic ones, bad ones, except for robots. There's too many bad words for robots. And so basically this is as a couple of kids are spray painting something on the garage door of the Vision's house. And then the thing they decide to say on the end is go home socket lovers, which is choice.
Yeah.
And then that basically Virginia catches the kids, phases her arm through the garage door, and slams one of their heads against it. We never hear about that kid again. Is he dead?
Yeah, no one ever comes to
do anything
to
about
get
that.
the kid or to blackmail or threaten this lady.
No.
So
He's probably in the same grave as the Grim Reaper, to be honest.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Just disappears and his parents don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yep. Then we get more backstory on the Everbloom, and we kind of get some flashbacks in like visuals as well. Basically, it was a gift from Agatha Harkness to her student Wanda Maximoff. Wanda, we know, is Scarlet Witch.
Yep.
Agatha, we don't know yet, but she will be in WandaVision. So at this point, you may know who she is, or they might not have revealed that.
Oh, is she in it? Is that the girl that keeps turning up throughout time?
Maybe.
Maybe,
Josh.
perhaps.
Holy crap. I need to watch the trailer again.
Wait. No, Josh, you're supposed to know this by now.
I should.
I should.
Sorry, it's the
I'm a
26th
bad
or
nerd.
something.
It's all right.
Yeah.
By the time this comes out, you will know this.
Yes.
Because you'll have
Yeah,
seen
exactly.
the first episode.
Exactly. Josh knows who.
He
I
knows.
do know. I do
He,
know.
he knows
Yeah.
all. We all know about the first episode of WandaVision as well.
We do.
That's how great we are.
It was very good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good app.
Yeah.
Good app.
Yeah. Possibly
good.
an hour and a half, I've heard.
Possibly 2 episodes. I've also heard.
Yeah, it's either an hour and a half or 2 episodes, which I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
A film.
Yeah.
No, it starts with a film.
It starts with a Marvel film.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So Agatha basically later she gave them the gift of the Everbloom when Vision and Wanda got married, and then Agatha later nannied for the family of Vision and Wanda because they had kids, kind of didn't have kids. It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
That whole
get
thing
into
was
that a bit later.
Yeah, it was like through basically the devil, right?
Yeah,
He gave them
Mephisto
kids
or
for
something,
it,
yeah.
through
Yeah.
some wish. And
Look it up.
some from
That one's a
whatnot.
bit. That one's a bit weird.
Yeah,
And
if you know a bit
basically-
of the context, you're like, yeah, okay, I know what's
Yeah.
happening there.
Yeah.
But then they're like, but then the children died, Vision died, which is something they just put in there.
Yeah.
Agatha died, and then Wanda died, but the Everbloom lived on. It lives forever. It's an Everbloom. Who would have thought?
That's the thing.
It's in the name.
I wonder if they can put it in that vase.
Yeah, maybe.
The
If it-
vase that
if it-
kills,
yeah.
the vase that kills everything. Is it
Maybe-
still blooming?
Maybe that's a metaphor for something.
Maybe.
This is true. I actually didn't think of that.
Missed a spot
Yeah, I'm
there,
like-
King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
watching you.
Duke. What's below Duke? Now I'm really scratching.
Pleb.
Pleb.
Tom Pleb.
So apparently a lot of people sell fake Everbloom blossoms as well, because there's a myth that eating them lets you see the future. And we learned that Agatha has a cat, and that she and Wanda would, like, when she was teaching Wanda as a witch, they would watch people eat the fake blossoms and kind of laugh at them, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We find out why a bit later. Then we cut to Tony Stark. I wasn't that happy about this. I'm sure Josh was very happy.
Like, it was cool to see him.
Yeah.
He's just such such an iconic face,
Mm.
especially
Yeah.
from the movies and stuff now. But you just see that facial hair. You're like, I know.
It's Tony Stark.
It's just
Although
Tony Stark.
I was saying to you that I actually felt like this appearance of Tony Stark was interesting in a way that they wouldn't do in the movies because it felt like a dude coming over to help repair something, and it's just
Yeah.
like Tony Stark's above that. He wouldn't obviously it's the Vision, but the way it's all set up, it feels like your
Yeah.
mate that's a doctor. It's like, can you just my kid fell over? Could you just come check out his knee?
Yeah, bit of
Yeah.
mates rates kind of thing.
Yeah, totally.
My
Yeah.
computer's wrecked.
Yeah, that's a
Help
better-
IT friend. Can you just have a look at it for a sec for free?
That's a better way of putting it, because halfway through the idea of a mate coming over, I was like, can you come over and help my dead son? And
Yeah.
it's like, it's probably not. Yeah, I feel like the computer metaphor is better.
I've gone to nurse friends' houses when I
Were
fell
dead?
off my skateboard
Oh,
and,
okay.
and scraped my knee. I'm like, you need to fix this. I don't know what I'm doing
Yeah,
here.
good.
You need to fix my knee because you're a nurse. You know what you're doing.
You know all about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed seeing him.
Yeah.
It was-
in
it
case
was
you
nice.
don't know,
I'm
I don't
sorry
like
you hate Tony Stark.
I don't like Iron Man. I don't like Tony Stark. You'll probably find out why at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll read like
There'll be-
Demon in a Bottle and...
Yeah,
you
there'll
just-
be some Iron Man comic where I'll just go on a big old rant.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
When we hit
Well-
Ironheart in like a year's time, you can
Oh
talk
god,
about
but Ironheart's great. That's the thing. Just
Yeah,
Tony
yeah.
sucks.
But that's why you can have the other side. You're like, look how great
That's
she
true.
is.
Yeah.
I hate
Yeah.
this man.
Exactly. So basically,
Comics.
Comics. Tony's there with Vision, and they kind of talk about how they'll repair Viv, who is the daughter. Look.
Yeah.
You've read it, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Vision. Does someone else? Are you looking at the notes?
Yeah.
Do you want to try and say this?
Yeah.
Who wants to say that?
Sure. Vision goes, brzap, shz, shvz.
Yeah, nice.
That's pretty good.
So I was trying to take over from Will doing it on Good Game Spawn Point when he had to try and
emojis.
Do the emojis and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna give this a go.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you did a pretty good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Basically, there's just a lot of that.
Yeah.
In this little bit.
Yeah.
As Viv keeps saying mother again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just very creepily. Tony basically wants to turn off the power because they're jacking a bunch of power through Vision, trying to like repair her internals while his hands are through her stomach. I don't know, very weird.
A lot more phasing, you know.
Lots of phasing. Vision then threatens to kill Tony Stark.
Which was so intense.
I
You were
wouldn't be
down
that
for.
against.
Yeah, totally.
So Tony decides to keep the power on, which I think is a good choice, because Vision really wants to save his daughter, obviously, and then she wakes up and says father instead of mother, which is kind of cute.
Yeah.
Tony looks concerned, as you would, but he still lies to Captain America and says that everything went normal. Tony sucks.
Damn it, Ben.
You let me host these.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, Will told me that you were going to, so
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah, then we go back to Agatha, more flashbacks. Agatha stabs her cat in the neck. Poor cat. Then the cat becomes a panther and attacks her, but then she still kills it. And then we learn that the reason they giggle at the people who eat the blossoms is because the only way to properly use the Ever Blossom was to, first of all, get a proper petal from it, and then eat it twice. And so you have to eat it once when you're hungry, and then the other time after you murder something, and then you get to see the future.
good.
Cat dies, it's sad. Rip Ebony. Viv makes it home, there's a family reunion, it's real cute, they're all happy. Vision and Virginia then get down to some business.
They do.
And then I thought a nice little detail in this, though, was that as Virginia is taking her clothes off, the clothes kind of phase through her body. I didn't notice that the first time, but
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
did
a
notice
cool
that.
little bit of art that, like, is not necessary, but every now and then you notice something like that and you're like, good on you. Like, that's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And they talk about, like, non-phasing clothes for the kids and something and how they're expensive.
Yeah.
And all that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
in another
yeah.
panel. Yeah. But basically, Vision is concerned about no one having found evidence of the Reaper, like having actually escaped. But Virginia distracts him and tells him that the Reaper is gone. And then it cuts away and we see their silhouettes and the words, "Go home, socket lovers," on the garage with the bloodstain still there. Again, don't know what happened to that kid.
Yeah.
It would be so funny if he was still on the ground.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
all of this
sitting
is
there.
happening and he's just passed out on the ground
Yeah.
underneath this graffiti.
Yeah.
And they're just doing some business
They're moving on. Sort
just
them out.
above him,
Yeah.
basically.
And then basically, I just wanted to like shout out the coloring on like the Agatha flashback panels. It's very cool. It's basically all black and white
Yeah.
except for the blossoms and the blood. And, you know, it's good horror vibes. I like that a lot.
Yes. Or they just didn't pay the colorist this much. That's
That's
for
true.
this
She was
issue.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to do the rest of the thing, but not this bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They let Tom King color in those pages. And he was like,
Yeah.
I've only got a red pen. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then Agatha dies, but then she doesn't.
Yeah.
Because she sees a vision of the visions. funny.
Yep, nice.
Murdering literally everyone. And we kind of find out that she's maybe the narrator of the whole thing as well. And that's issue 3. It's a good one. It's intense.
They
I
really
do-
are dense, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
They really are dense. That was the thing. And like Will messaged me last night and was like, "That's a lot of stuff you've written." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll probably skim over a lot of it." And now I'm looking at it and I'm like, a lot of this is important. So
Yeah,
try
it really
to,
is.
We'll try,
Yeah.
we'll try to go fast.
It's going to be a long
But,
pod, but I love this
yeah.
issue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is very good. Issue 4, Balls in the Air. Again, this is the one. Maybe not the one, not the double entendre you're thinking of. but,
No.
Yeah, prob's not.
Probably not balls.
Yeah.
Viv and Vin are playing football. It's kind of, they talk about trust a little bit, but Vin keeps tricking Viv, and every time he goes to kick the ball, he phases through it, and she then gets really annoyed and throws the football through his head. And then there's a cool little thing where the old school logo of the school they go to was the Redskins logo. And now, like, if you don't know American football, Washington Redskins, like the DC football team, basically, that's racist.
Yeah.
Because like a racist name for Native Americans.
Yep.
It's been like drama for ages. They only finally got rid of that name literally last year,
That's
like in 2020.
That's mental.
So this comic
is-
was before it actually happened in
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah, totally. Like 5 years before at this point, which is ridiculous.
That's nuts.
So now they're just Washington football team. They're the only one without a nickname because they're like, we're just not even going to bother.
Just come up with something, guys.
I guess.
I know.
I guess after like 90 years of that, they're like, you know what? Let's not bother. Let's just avoid it all.
Insane. They should have read this and seen what the high school did.
Yeah.
I don't think we actually ever find out what the high school did. We just know that this was the old logo, and then Vision says a really good little quote that's like, humans change, but they do not change.
Yeah.
You know,
there is, I think later in this comic, they do go to the school and there is the logo. I don't know if the name changes, but it's like a bear or something instead.
Yeah.
Like a deer or whatever. Yeah.
The bear
They do flash back to the Redskins logo at one other point, I think. I think it's at the end of this comic. So I'll try and remember to talk about that. The blackmail phone Virginia has apparently rings at 2 p.m. every day, and this is the day she chooses not to ignore it while the kids are out playing football. And then basically, I think they just like cut at that point, and we cut back to Vision now playing football with his kids. He's kind of gone out. It's like throwing the football with his kids.
So
like, cute all-American dream kind of thing. Yeah. And he wants them to play normally and not fly, but the kids are like, we want to fly. Throw it really far and we're going to fly. And I think that's like a neat little take on the classic football throwing scenes, Chris Pratt and Guardians, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then the kids keep debating like all these random human concepts. This time, which is more just between fairness and preeminence. And apparently preeminence is more just than fairness. I write a lot. This made my brain hurt.
Yeah.
So, like,
some of these discussions, I'm like, I'm just not going to bother with it.
Yeah. Like, as someone who tends to like know a lot about these things, I was like, I don't know what you're going on about. I'm just going to accept that what you're saying is probably true.
Good call.
Yeah.
Basically, Viv and Vin then go back to school. This is after Vin got suspended for not killing a guy, but almost killing a guy.
Yeah.
And Viv got stabbed. And so everyone's staring at them, which makes sense. Then the person who Vin choked, CK, comes up to Viv's locker and basically walks to class with her and talks, and they have a cute little conversation. Kind of like alluding to young love kind of stuff, but I don't know, maybe.
This is like, okay, this is the one comic I actually made a note in, because I was like, I should be making notes in this. This is the only one I actually ended up doing. But I wrote, I like CK. I like Chris Kinski. He's a really nice kid.
Did you write that at this point?
Yeah.
Amazing.
I wrote it at this point. So obviously we'll continue.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. But
awesome.
I really liked him here, because I'm like, it's basically he's forgiven Vin for nearly killing him, and he basically just continues on and says things like people talk, but they have no idea what they're talking about. Like, they don't actually, they don't understand what they're saying. They just think they do. Just stuff like that.
They flash back to this conversation a lot.
They do,
but basically, like, he's like, despite your brother almost killing me, I want to stay lab partners with you. And they have, like, there's a little bit about rain, which is, I think, pretty important. I can't remember the exact words of it, but it's basically like, it's raining as they're walking, and Chris is like, oh, I should have brought an umbrella. And then Viv is like, what is it? It's something like, oh, it doesn't matter, it just goes right through me or something. Which is, I feel like this is the wrong issue name, because this is called Balls in the Air. Yeah.
But the in and out, what was it, number 2, everything slips through their fingers, right? Issue 2.
Yeah, totally.
I feel like that should have...
Yeah.
And was the other one where they sort the mail? That would have worked for Balls in the Air?
In and Out.
Yeah.
Totally.
In and Out works
that
for that
makes
one.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Tom King, talk to us. Get us on the phone. Maybe give us some money to do
We'll fix it. We'll fix your that word that you said before, winning comic.
Eisner Award winning.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think we know better than you.
I think so.
Right.
Then we cut to the Avengers, which is fun. We like seeing the Avengers every now and then.
Yeah.
It's like especially ridiculous in these comics because they're so based around just like menial everyday life.
Yeah.
And then you cut to the Avengers and you're like, oh yeah, this is a Marvel comic.
Yes. I freaking love this.
Yeah. Vision is fighting Giganto, and we see Falcon in his Captain America gear, because this is when they were doing the first Sam Wilson Captain America run, and Iron Man. And basically, Vision is on the phone with Virginia, and Virginia's like, come home. And Vision's like, my work is important. I'm avenging. But eventually he concedes that he will, as is needed at home, because Virginia's going to go out for the night. And says that Tony might be able to call on Nova, who was supposed to have a night with his mother.
Yeah. This is another note that I made in this. Again, this is the only comic I made notes in. But that section was another thing I made notes about, because I'm like, that is fantastic. It's so dumb but fun.
Yeah. And
Marvel.
I'll say it now, because it'll come back up later. But basically, the reason he says he needs to have a night with his mother is because this is the kid Nova. I don't remember his regular name.
Richard Ryder? No. Yes.
No, Richard Ryder's...
That's the old one.
Hang on. Real quick.
This is important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tippity tap.
Sam.
Sam sounds correct.
It does, doesn't it?
Sam Alexander, you were right.
I was right.
There you go.
Go.
Two first names.
Yeah, but basically, so I think they were doing Nova run at this point, where he's in the Avengers. And yeah, he'll come back up later. He's a cool little character.
I kind of hope that
at some point
there is a point in his run, alongside this, where he gets called to go fight Gigantor. Just like, I was meant to spend the night with my mother. There's got to be a crossover there. I really, really hope. I kind of want to read that run there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Vision flies home. We then see Virginia flying over to the address that was given to her over the phone on that phone call that we cut away from earlier. Mm-hmm. She says to Vision, I'm going to a meeting with a headhunter for a job. But then she lies that saying that her meeting was going late. Obviously, she's going to this address. They find out the address is the home of Chris's dad.
Yeah.
And he has a gun, and he's pointing the gun at her. Basically, what happened was apparently he was heading to their house to introduce himself to Virginia and Vision, because Viv was going to be Chris's lab partner. Mm-hmm. But then he saw what had happened. Virginia was shoveling the dead body in the garden and took a video. And
he's like, because that's what we do, right? We take videos.
Yeah.
He literally says that. It's like, that's 100% what people do.
Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, I wasn't going to do anything, but then my son got choked by your son, and so now I want you to leave, which I think is a totally reasonable response.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. And he's like, I don't want anything else. I don't want to say anything. I'm not going to tell anyone. I just want you to leave, please. He's very polite about the situation, considering what happened.
Everything, yeah.
So then, CK wakes up and sees the two of them fighting, and then arguably the most important part of this comic, the dad shoots Virginia, but it phases through her, and hits CK in the head, I think, or maybe the chest.
I think there's a chest end headshot.
Yeah, pretty gross. Kills CK. He's dead on the floor. Virginia, so when she killed Reaper in the earlier comic, it was with the cookie tray that they got from George and Nora. This one, it's from a punch in the head.
Yeah.
Or she doesn't kill him. He goes into a coma. They cut to him in a coma in the next one.
Yeah.
And then, basically...
Yeah, I think later they also say... They bring it up later, way later, and they're like... And he's in a coma, which he will probably never awake from. It's like, jeez.
Yeah.
That was a solid punch.
Probably another one of those phase punches where it's like...
Yeah.
God.
Just a little phase through the head, flick to the brain.
Yeah. And basically that comic ends. They're lying on the floor next to each other. It's very freaky.
Intense. And I just want to reiterate the note that I wrote at the start of this comic saying, I like CK. He's a nice kid.
Hey, have we seen more?
I like CK.
It was, oh man.
You see him more, but not
you do.
You want to.
But not live, right?
No.
Yeah.
And also I quite like, because in that house, the blood splatters onto a Redskins logo as well.
That's where it comes back up.
So it's a little bit of he's nice, but he's also... he's got that thing chilling on his house.
Yeah. I think it's hanging
cool.
on the wall, like a hat on the wall or something.
Well, that's to be near CK's head.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. And it's I liked it for that reason. It was also kind of a cool little thing of them alluding to the real life thing where Redskins is a fucked up name.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. And then we go to issue 5, which is called The Villainy You Teach Me. I do like this name. This is a good one.
It's
basically
strong.
It's alluding, because they start off this one with the teacher at the school, the teacher. They only have one teacher.
They do, yeah.
Yeah. Reciting a section from Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice. It was something about the villainy you teach me. It's a cool little section, and it kind of cuts across a montage of images. We see CK's dad on a hospital bed with Virginia hovering over her, over him, really menacingly. And we see CK's dead body and his death certificate being written up as he's in the morgue. And it's we see it's ruled as a homicide. We see Vision fighting. I think they're fighting the X-Men.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure, but it looks like it. And so I was wondering, I might go back and have a look, but I think there might be an Avengers versus X-Men at this point.
Yeah, okay.
And then basically he's with Lady Thor, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
Jane Foster.
Yeah,
really
she pops up every now and again throughout this series.
Yeah, it really puts it in that point of time where they were doing so many big things.
They were doing a lot of big things around this time.
Yeah.
Which I think is why some of the recent stuff is really good. So, yeah. Anyway, that's one of them. Then we see Vin in class and Viv in the library, looking at Chris's picture in the yearbook and tearing out the page very sadly. The teacher ends this passage by saying, possibly the most creepy thing to the kids for, no reason. I don't get why he says this to them. I think one of the kids is what does this have to do with us being on our phones all the time or something? And he's like, let me answer that for you, my precious darling students, which is weird on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me answer it by saying you have no idea what's coming. And I'm like,
what do you mean?
Who the hell is this teacher?
I feel like I missed that quote, because that's intense.
Yeah. I had to I read over it a couple of times. So I was like,
yeah.
What is he saying there? It's
What does he mean?
Oh man,
Yeah.
if I ever go back to teaching, I need to memorize that quote.
Yeah.
And if my students ask me about a test, I'm like,
You have no
let
idea
me
what's
answer.
coming.
Yeah.
You're gonna say it like that?
That's right, yeah. I'm just going to stumble
Don't-
over
Yeah,
it
okay,
and
good.
then just turn around
Don't
and
say
start
the
writing
darling
on it.
students bit, please.
Yeah,
though.
leave
I'm
that bit out.
Maybe, yeah.
That's very creepy.
I don't want to get arrested.
Definitely had a biblical studies teacher that talked like that, and that's enough.
Oh, yeah. I think a
Yeah.
lot of us did, and none of us were too thrilled with it. Then we see a detective showing up at the Vision's door. His name is Matthew Lynn. He works for the Arlington PD. Arlington is, I think it's in Virginia, so that's where I think that's the first time we actually learn where exactly they are.
Right.
Fun little fact. And then this is the first time I wrote a note about the mailbox floating, but I mentioned it earlier. I just want to mention it again. It's really cool.
It is.
It's on little jet hover jets. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost just like permanent repulsors.
Yeah, the mini repulse.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, basically. It's very cool. Vision then heads with Lynn to the police station, even though Lynn's not giving him any information about why. And we get a little bit of backstory about the detective. He was in the army, and the previous year he had killed someone in self-defense during a routine investigation. Never really come back to that, so sure. Virginia attempts to reassure the kids that everything is normal. And then she kind of begins to malfunction for the first time. She starts repeating words, which is something that she starts doing a lot. And then she smashes the dining table to pieces very aggressively.
Oh, yeah, she does.
And then at the police station, Lynn asks Vision for copies of the recordings that he takes of his whereabouts. He's like, do you just film everything? And he's like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, huh, yeah, that makes sense for our day and age. It's a cool little thing.
Basically his own dash cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, yeah. But Vision's like, I'm not giving you my recordings. And then we get the 37 incidents. Through these all, because I thought this was
Literally
really
listed. Oh,
very
you're going to
funny.
do it. All right.
Yeah,
I
we're
didn't
gonna
see
go
this
through it all.
note.
So it goes through the 37 times he saved the world. So we have the Sentinel Strike, the Proctor War, Ultron, Immortus, Thanos and his hordes, Atlantis attacks, Emperor Doom, Mephisto,
Missed
the
Loki.
Space Phantom.
You missed Loki.
missed
There was a
Loki.
Loki there. After
Oh,
Atlantis
there's a
attacks.
Loki. Damn it, I was doing.
Are you gonna start at the start? No, turn.
Yeah, I gotta go. No, I'm gonna go again. All right. Sentinel Strike, Proctor War, Ultron, Immortus, Thanos and his hordes, Atlantis attacks, Loki, Emperor Doom, Mephisto, the Space Phantom, the Witch on Wundagore Mountain, the Serpent's Crown, the Crossing, Ultron again, Operation Galactic Storm, Jocasta, Bride of Ultron, the Morgan Conquest, Necrodamus, the Korvac Saga, the Phoenix Force, Baron Zemo, the Kree-Skull War, and they do a fun little reference to the Skrull Cows, which I thought was very cool. Ultron number 3, Kang, the Red Skull. Ultron number 4, Claw, Magneto, Kang Dynasty, Demetrios. Ultron number 5, the Black Talon, Galactus. Ultron number 6, Master Pandemonium. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Nailed it.
Yeah.
First go.
37.
37
times he saved the world. And then as we go through all those, Lynn's kind of like interrogating him about the death of CK, and he's kind of like over the top, the narration's talking about all those. And I'm going to read out the next bit. It's the one bit I have bookmarked because it's sick. Because it's basically...
Nice.
Basically, they go... Vision informs him that Vin was with him the whole night, which is true, because obviously he didn't kill CK. And then Lynn points out that he did not say with us. And then we get... After the 37 times, basically we get this little bit, which he says, 37 times he saved us all. But it's not enough, is it? In the end, I mean. Those 37 occasions when he was all that stood between life and death, between everything and nothing, when he had been beaten, torn, tortured. And instead of simply slipping into the ground, as we surely would have done, he raised his head one more time, stared one more time into the screaming face of evil, and said, one more time, with his simple voice, with no emotion, no care, I am Vision of the Avengers. I will not fall. 37 times. And all of it cannot redeem him from this small moment when he crossed to the other side, when he entered into the madness that was soon to come. This small moment, this small lie. Last Tuesday, yes, my family, they were all there with me. Which is like awesome, honestly.
Yeah. Such good writing. They have, they have such good power in some of the just little lines and narration that they give. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, totally. Because it's like, I just love that they spend the whole, like, basically this whole issue going through, this is all the times he saved the world. They also mention something about, like, he also set up the West Coast Avengers. So does that count as more times he's saved the world?
Yeah.
But then he's like, but the fact they're like, but nothing will redeem him from this one moment. I'm like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So well written.
Yeah.
Tom King, back up to maybe Prince.
Yeah, I'd give him Prince.
Yeah.
And then Vision returns home to her wife malfunctioning and the broken table. She's kind of repeating some words again. Carmelie informs her they'll fix it all in the morning. And then he goes upstairs to bed. And then she just remains sitting there malfunctioning.
So dark.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's probably one of my favorite issues. Josh was saying he loved number 4. I love that one a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's very
nice.
cool. It's kind of like not the most story heavy out of all of them, looking through them, but I love the way that one's kind of done. Flashes back and forth between all this stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Issue 6, P versus NP. My brain. So basically,
a lot of mathematical ideas in here.
yeah, you're the maths
great.
teacher, aren't you, Josh?
Yeah, I enjoyed this.
So this is the return of George and Nora. They have a cute dog called Zeke, and the next few pages of the first few pages of this comic occur through the eyes of Zeke, as he uncovers the buried body of the Reaper in the back garden, digs it up. And I wrote a note here. This reinforces that the best comics happen through the eyes of dogs. If you don't know what I mean by that, read Hawkeye number 11.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure we will at some point.
We definitely will.
Yeah.
on the list.
But man, so good. Basically, the narrator, over the top of that, explains the mathematical problem P versus NP. Mm-hmm. Josh, do you want to try explaining?
You got this?
I'll kind of maybe summarize your words. So this is like mathematical ideas of how to solve a problem. So P represents a problem that a computer can solve in an amount of time, and it's like having an equation just to be able to get straight there. So if you add like 1 plus 2, you don't go, is it 3? Let's check that. Or sorry, like, is it 1? Let's check that. Is it 2? Let's check that. Is it 2.5? Let's check that. There is a set way to do that.
Yeah.
But NP represents a problem that is unsolvable, or you have to go through and like test a bunch of solutions to eventually get there. So there could be an infinite number of attempts to solve it, which makes it potentially unsolvable. So therefore, a computer can't just run an algorithm to get there. I think that's kind of the idea.
I think that is, and I think you explained it better than anything I read, because I tried to read up a bit on it.
Yeah. Fair.
what the heck is this? This is not my area of expertise. They were like, it's a maths problem, it's a computer science problem, it's a reality problem. And I was like,
reality.
It's kind of all of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so that basically happens. It's the dog, and we have P versus MP. Dog finds Reaper. Vision is then discussing Thanos' resemblance to a Skrull with his family, which I thought was kind of fun. He does look quite a lot like a Skrull.
Does the chin?
It does, yeah.
It's the
I have
chin.
thought that, but
Yeah.
it's just the weird lines.
Yeah.
It's just all in the chin.
The nutsack of a chin.
They're having their dinner, but not dinner because they don't eat.
Yeah.
Which we see a few times. I think they call it like recapping the day with the family. Or something,
Yeah,
which is
it's like
neat.
their dinner conversation or something.
Yeah.
And then basically he gets distracted by sounds from the backyard and he exits to Zeke being electrocuted. Not sure why he's being electrocuted.
Yeah. I assume the scythe has some sort of electricity in it.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
did also, I noticed the scythe was literally like attached to his arm.
it's
He
a
didn't
scythe
have
hand.
a hand.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't holding the scythe, it's literally part of his arm.
Yeah,
So
I
maybe
don't
there's
know
some
what
sort
the deal
of...
is there.
Yeah, it might be some sort of like Winter Soldier powered
Powered arm.
kind of idea.
Yeah.
There's some sort
Probably
of
some
power.
background with it in some comics, I reckon.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, poor Zeke. He finds this and he's like, oh, exciting. And then he gets electrocuted.
A lot of animals die in this.
A lot of animals,
do.
A lot of
die,
animals
which,
were
as
harmed in
someone
the making
who
of this.
loves animals, I'm like, this is very sad.
Yeah.
Basically, then George rings the doorbell next day because if you've forgotten, Zeke is his dog. And he's kind of looking for Zeke. Virginia invites him in, and the house's interior is apparently in shatters.
Destroyed.
If you haven't put two and two together, Vision just found out that Grim Reaper was buried in their backyard and hadn't run away, so his wife lied to him. And so basically, it seems like he's just completely gone wild and trashed everything. Viv is huddling in the corner crying. Virginia says something to George about wanting to like get clean or clean everything up, and so you have to tear it all down. George is like, the hell?
It's a weird situation for him to be in.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that's going on.
I feel like a bit less bad for George now, even though he was an asshole earlier, because I'm like, ugh. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Virginia gives him back the bent cookie tray that he used to murder the Reaper.
So good.
It's just amazing. And then after that, like, just amazing little bit. Again, another amazing little bit where we cut to Vision, who is covered in blood, and he's butchering the dog.
Yeah.
And he removes the dog's brain and connects it to some wires. And he's on the phone with Virginia, or like interfacing or whatever. And he like reassures her that he's not mad, even though he destroyed the entire house. However, he wished she had informed him earlier, as now people's suspicions in them might have a foundation and they would lose people's trust. I think it was interesting that it was like, now they might think like it's well-founded. I'm like, I feel like you've done enough at this point that I feel like that ship has sailed. But
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. One of the kids nearly died.
yeah,
The kids in
totally.
the school. Like, everyone
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
It's a small
Yeah.
town. Word would have
It's-
traveled.
yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
It's the smell of a man in the backyard probably traveled too.
yeah, that is
Yeah,
very true.
that man was not buried that deep.
No, a dog found him.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog found him very quickly.
Pretty quick. Yeah.
Zeke's now an android dog. We
Yep.
find out Vision just made him into a new dog for the family. And
Made him
then
green?
so this is yeah, he's green.
Suits the fam.
He doesn't have
Yeah.
a name yet at this point. He gets one later because I think if you read this in Marvel Unlimited, they basically have at the end they have a bunch of like little letters that Tom King talks to his readers and stuff. And I think that after this one, they like put out a poll. They're like, "What should be the dog's name?" So he doesn't have a name at this point
That's good.
because of that.
Yeah. And there's a full list of all of the names
Oh yeah. Is there any good ones in there?
at number 7. It's like, it is a huge list, to be honest.
Okay. That's fine.
I remember
While
seeing
you're
it.
doing that, I'll just
Continue.
I'll quickly wrap up this issue.
Yeah,
So
found it.
basically, oh okay.
No, you can
do
go.
you want to do that?
There you
Okay.
go, yeah.
Basically, Vision. We cut back to it's like Agatha's narration, basically, and she's like, Vision has embraced NP, the unsolvable problem, the impractical, the human reality, like just the fact that not everything can be solved. I guess that's what I got from this. Again, not my area of expertise. And then we cut to Agatha, who's like now an apparition because she's a witch, I guess. And she's finishing her narration alongside Wanda, and she's standing in front of all the Avengers. So this wraps up like the first kind of arc of this like 2-part comic series, I'd say. Basically, stands in front of all of them, stating that Vision will now do anything to find happiness for his wife and children, including killing them all and all their families. And it ends with the words, "He will raise the world."
Yeah. It certainly sets up another 6 issues of that just get worse. Like
absolutely.
the world just goes worse. What were the names, Josh?
Yeah. So I was just skimming through some of the names for the video listeners.
I'm sure Ben will
looks something like that. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. I can get a screenshot of that.
Yeah.
And there's a few in there. A lot of people. There's quite a few people that tried to go with like a V or a VI kind of vibe. Like there's Vincent. There's just VZ. So like Viz. There's Vex. There's Voz. Vig. Virgil. Vox.
Virgil.
Video. Vita. Vic, just V.
Vita.
And probably my favorite, for obvious reasons, as as it was obvious towards the beginning of this particular issue when I explained all the math stuff. One of them was 6, but spelt in Roman numerals, which is VI.
Clever.
Oh, that's so clever.
It's so good. It's very, very good.
I like that.
I can't remember what was the dog's name in the end. What did they actually call him?
Sparky.
Sparky.
That's right.
That's the one.
I'm like, that's alright.
I would have preferred one of the V ones. It would have made more sense. Sparky's a little random.
Virgil is cool, but maybe...
Virgil's pretty cool. I like that one. Just makes me think of Thunderbirds.
But yeah, that's the end of the first 6 issues. As I said, it's kind of like the first little arc. I don't remember if we got it in the recording, but I was saying to these guys just beforehand that basically... I remember like a lot of these first 6, like that's where my memory was for these comics. But all the stuff after this, I maybe remembered the next issue because it's pretty like iconic out of these ones.
Yeah.
But basically, like the second half of this, I like forgot a lot of what happened.
They kind of, I feel like they kind of blend together. Like the other ones are like, here's a story, here's a story, here's the story, and then from I think 8 onwards,
it's just goes.
It's really just like, one condensed story split over a bunch of issues.
Yep.
Yeah. Issue 7. As I mentioned earlier, this is the only one that's done by a different illustrator. It's done by Michael Walsh. The name of this one is called I Too Shall Be Saved by Love, which is a quote from Avengers number 147. This is like the Wanda and Vision flashback issue. It's really cool. It kind of goes through a history of their relationship. Yeah, I thought I'd mention where that quote was from, because basically they just rehash a bunch of the iconic moments from previous comics. They chuck in a few original ones as well, but they give it new art and everything. It's a nice little palette cleanser after like the really intense, like everything else that's going on.
Tell you what, sorry, just quickly on that. I didn't check like some of the special features or whatever of this particular issue, but back in the day, probably when this came out, Marvel were trialing a lot of AR. So there was an actual like Marvel AR app that you could get for your phone, and you could scan the covers of comics and stuff, or specific pages that had an AR logo on it, and it would come up with a video. Sometimes it would be like an AR 3D model of something. One of Will and my favorites was the cover of one of the Spider-Man issues, and Spider-Man is swinging around in a circle on a big crane, and it just looked awesome. It's like coming out of the comic issue. It looked awesome. But a lot of the other ones are videos that would pop up, and they would either give you more context to that page, or they would show you that particular page going step by step through the drawing and the colorization and the lettering and all of that to show you how that was brought about. So it was really cool little things. I think some of the comics on Marvel Unlimited, just had to remember what it was called, they actually have those videos already built in, which is cool. So you can still go back and see a lot of those videos and stuff. But I'm wondering whether the original comic for this, I feel like it would have come out around the same time.
It was definitely that era.
Mucking around with AR. They might have had like references to these if you scanned those particular pages.
It'd bring like, up what you've got here.
Yeah, this is from this particular issue. This one's from this issue. That would be really cool to see.
Yeah,
if they did something like that at all.
Totally, yeah. I think in
Or
the notes
if Marvel
for this,
Unlimited, like, it just pushed you to those issues.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like,
that
this is
would
where
be
it's from.
awesome.
Like people who enjoyed this comic also read.
These 8 comics.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah, if you go into the notes for this one in Marvel Unlimited, they have like little things about where these ones are from, and it's cool. So I'll go through it as we do it. Basically, the first bit of this is like an original little bit. I am pretty sure this isn't in anything else. And it's the two in bed together, and Vision is telling Wanda a joke that the Wasp told him, apparently. Basically, it's about talking toasters, and they laugh, and they're both very happy, and it's cute. Like, it starts off very awkward, and then they, like, laugh together. And it's clear that, like, they had a very wholesome relationship, which is cool. Then the next one is from Avengers number 166. And it's the two kissing behind a tree as the Avengers fight Nefaria. They separate reluctantly, and Vision says, "Tomorrow does not always come." Wanda replies that every good witch knows that tomorrow always comes. And then Vision, I think this is the first time they told each other that they love each other. Wanda's like, "I love you too, even though you're a talking toaster," which I thought was very cute. It's just cute couple crap. It's very good. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So this one is a reinterpretation of stuff from the Vision and Scarlet Witch Limited run in 1985, 1986. So the first thing we see is a dinner party with the couple alongside a few characters. We've got Robert Frank the Whizzer, Bova Ayrshire, who is a cow, Agatha Harkness, Pietro Maximoff, Quicksilver, who is Wanda's brother, and Simon Williams, Wonder Man. We went through his importance earlier. Basically, apparently, I was like, why is there a cow? And who is the Whizzer? Bova and the Whizzer are married in the comics, and Bova was the midwife at Pietro and Wanda's birth. So,
amazing.
Sure.
That's so good. I love that backstory for them.
Yeah.
It's so good. I did not know that.
Yeah.
And also, the Whizzer also showed up in Jessica Jones, I think the second or first season. He actually goes in to ask for help, and spoilers for that, he dies very quickly. They like go outside and he...
The Whizzer.
Yeah. He even name drops himself as the Whizzer, and she's like, "That's a weird name." And then they go outside, and he goes to run away from her, and then something just falls and kills him.
Great.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah, if your name is the Whizzer and you're married to a humanoid cow, I'm immediately concerned about what's going on there.
You're not going to last long, or you shouldn't.
No.
And especially if you're married to a cow. I feel like there's predicaments you'll get into where you may die.
Totally.
Yeah.
The next one, it's Vision helping put a necklace around Wanda's neck as they discuss whether or not they should use the blossoms, the Ever Blossoms, to see the future. Wanda is like, "It's unnecessary. I've already seen my future, and it's you." Again, they're really
So
cute.
sweet. It's so wholesome, this freaking comic.
It's like such a
part.
change from the rest of the thing.
Yeah.
Because it's just really wholesome. The next one is Wanda and Division. Wanda and Division, that's a new one, discussing their children. The children that we mentioned earlier are not really real. And then Vision in this one is like, "Wanda, they're not real. Like, you need to accept that." And she's like deflecting it, gets angry, calls him a toaster, but this time in a mean way. And it's a bit sad. And then she's like, "You can't tell me what's real and not when you're a robot." And it's like, oof, okay. Vision is like very calmly like, "What good can come out of this lie?" And it's back to that theme of like lies and stuff, because obviously he's done the big lie that he can't come back from that we mentioned earlier.
It kind of really pulls you out of how wholesome all of this is.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
like, it's so
totally.
wholesome for this entire thing, and then you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm reading a series that's super effed up."
Yeah.
Oh,
We need to
yeah.
get back to that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So basically, the next bit is West Coast Avengers, number 45. Vision is white in this one. The kid asks him why he's white, and is it both of the kids? Yeah, both the kids are there, and it's basically, I can't remember their names. Hang on, I think I got them here. Thomas and William.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, they're like, why is Dad white? And Wanda's like, "You tell them." And he's like, "My body and operating system have been recently destroyed, and as such, I'm not your father.
Yeah.
You are not my children, and Wanda is not my wife." And Wanda's like, "What's wrong with you? You used to be kind." And then Vision is like, "Is the truth not kind?" It's just, it just goes back to like, Yeah, it's like, it's cute for a bit, and now it's just depressing again.
He's a robot. He very much
basically.
is not,
Yeah.
It shows basically why he's not with Scarlet Witch anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's just effed.
And then, yeah, totally. The next one is literally Vision breaking up with Wanda, and then it's like, Agatha will remove the memories of our children, and in that way we will be similar, because you two will also be new, because he's the new white version. And then the last little bit of this one is of like the flashbacks. We have Wanda. I think this is an original one. I couldn't find any original part of this.
Sure.
Yeah.
But basically, later, Wanda and Wonder Man. Say. Wanda and Wonder Man. Wonder Man in a relationship, and then Vision phases through the wall as they're like kissing and stuff, and it's like, yeah, he does that. And basically, Wanda's like, hang on, stop, and he's like, it's fine, whatever, I get it, you guys are in a relationship now, and she's like, no, stop, I want to give you a gift, and so she then gives him a gift of her own brain patterns, and
what a choice.
That harkens back to earlier, where she's like, I got the brain waves for my wife from someone else.
Yeah.
It's Wanda. Then we get literally the last page of this comic is back to the current day, and we get the toaster joke redone, but it's to Virginia this time, and their beds are no longer separated, which I thought was a cool touch.
Yeah.
So like they've gotten a bit closer together, but then she doesn't even respond to this joke.
They're
so
just
it's
sitting
like,
there
okay.
totally dry, just staring forward. No emotion.
Yeah. We then cut back to the normal issues. So this is the last little arc of it. Goes from like 8 through to 12. This one is called Victorious, and it is centered around the character Victor Mancha, who is basically another son of Ultron. Which I did not know was a thing. He was he was a member of the Runaways and the Avengers at various other times in the comics. There's a Runaways Marvel show that I don't know. I don't think that was very good. I didn't watch it.
I've been meaning to check it out. I don't know if he's in it. I wonder if he is.
Before he gets introduced, each of the members of the family go about their day. Viv listens to a conversation with CK over and over again while she brushes her hair. Vin is reciting Merchant of Venice that the teacher was reading out to him earlier. Virginia sings Row, Row, Row Your Boat while playing the piano, which we'll get back to that.
Yep.
Vision talks to Nova about fixing the Quinjet, all the while lasering the snow in their front garden with his beam, and it was very cool.
Very good.
And then Sparky the dog is playing with a metal ball. Vin throws it out the window for him as Vision finishes his call and waves at Nora, who's walking past. And then Sparky's in midair, just flying out the window. Great. Anyway, basically, as they're introducing Victor, we get those words that they said about that Agatha said about Vision in that earlier comic, where basically he was like, he will kill them, he will kill their families, he will raise the world. So Victor also bad, Ultron bad.
Yeah.
It's just that vibe that nothing good can come from Ultron, I guess, which they obviously fight back and forth against.
Yeah.
I also wrote here, he can yeet a ball real far. Just
he sure
throws
freaking
it
can.
really far.
Yeah.
I did also just quickly check whether Victor was in Runaways. There is a Victor Stein. But when I looked him up, he was just some scientist guy.
All right.
But there was no...
Victor.
And he was an old guy.
Right.
So
interesting.
Then you pick him up.
Different Victor.
Yeah. I think... Yeah, because I think Victor Stein's son maybe is in one of these next issues when they flashback. So I think that's...
Interesting.
Sure.
There you go.
And I guess if this was meant to be semi-canon, then Ultron within his trying to destroy the world and everything would have also had to create a son already.
Yep.
Or they would have had to allude that he's still alive in this TV series that no one ever watched.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Because they always try and semi-link them up, but it's
totally.
potentially too much. So
that'd be tricky.
This particular one,
Leave this fic alone.
Might have been hard.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, they start referring to him as Vision's brother, and then he's introduced to the family, and their Vision is he'll be staying here. He's got an internship in DC, and we learn that Victor wants to fight against his original programming that he would kill everyone and raise the world because he wants to be like Vision. Which I thought is cool. He's aspires to be the original, like the older brother, which I think is pretty neat.
It's very sweet.
Then we get a bunch of flashes through interactions Victor has with all of them. Again, also, I will mention, you can shorten his name very well.
Yeah.
to Vic.
Why couldn't you just name Virginia something else?
Something else.
Make this way easier, like Vic.
For sure.
So much. But yeah, they all go out for dinner, and the Visions order food, but they don't want it made. They're like, and basically, because Vision's like, oh, I don't want to go out for dinner, it'll be awkward. And Victor's like, no, I insist. And he's like, oh, but it'll be awkward. And then, yeah, it's very awkward. The waiter keeps coming back being like, are you sure you don't want the food made? And he's like, no, we just want the bill. We just want to pay for it. We don't want it made. And she's like, oh, okay.
Funny thing.
Great
It's
little
great.
details. However, I think the more important part was that apparently Ultron has glorious mirror abs, which I thought was just like the best little detail that they threw in there. Both Vision and Victor remark on the walk home that they're like jealous of each other's situation, that Vision has a family, and that Victor is like more human or something. Like there's some weird thing, but they're jealous of each other, and it's like they basically go back and forth about that. Then we get Virginia and Victor playing the piano together, the Wakandan piano. However, Virginia is like struggling, and once again she like does the little malfunction tick thing where she repeats words, and then we learn that apparently all Vin does is read Shakespeare all day. He just keeps reading it. And Victor's like, maybe you should take up another hobby. And I agree with that. Because maybe you need a bit of balance there.
I love the way they introduce this as well. Because he's like, you know, we all hear what you're doing upstairs, right?
Yeah, totally.
We all know you're going upstairs. We can hear you. You're just reading Shakespeare all the time. It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nice little way of doing that. Tom King. Close to King
He's
again.
back.
He's back. He's back to King.
Yeah.
If he keeps pushing, he'll be Queen.
Or Ace.
Yeah.
Tom Ace.
Yeah.
Tom Ace.
And then we cut to his interaction with Viv, where she's visiting the cemetery where Chris is buried, and then phases through the ground to look at his dead body, which...
Yeah.
Why?
It's a weird choice.
Like,
I do love this because...
But,
I do love this because you just see her coming out of the ground, not going in.
Yeah.
And you're like, the hell was that? And she's like, I shouldn't have looked at that. It's so good. It's such a funny little interaction.
Victor's like, I told you shouldn't. And she's like,
Yeah.
It's just... I think I didn't quite understand it the first time I read it. And then I had to like go back. And I was like, oh, that's really bad. Anyway, Vision and Victor are then at an art gallery, and Victor basically thanks him for taking him in over the winter. And then I wasn't sure about this. I think they're either debating the meaning of life, because they're like, what is the meaning of all this? Or a painting of Mickey Mouse holding Donald Duck on a fishhook, because they're standing in front of it, and maybe they're just having a go at like art being like pretentious and stuff.
Had Disney taken over at this stage?
I don't think so.
Because that's weird.
Yeah, it probably would have.
Maybe it was like...
2015, 2016.
They would have had it,
It was definitely close if it wasn't 100%.
Yeah. So it's a cheeky little reference. They were allowed to draw Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck.
And then to wrap up this one, Vin plays fetch with Sparky, but then Sparky accidentally phases through a door. Lots of phasing again. Vin follows him into the house, and then he finds Victor talking to the Avengers, reporting back on the whole family, and we basically learn that Victor's been spying on all of them. And then Victor then freaks out that Vin's seen him and electrocutes him. These poor kids, man.
Yeah.
These poor kids just
They do not
deal
get a
with...
break.
Like, normal children aren't asked to be brought into the world. These kids were definitely not asked to be brought into the world.
Yeah.
And all they've done is suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just almost killed repeatedly.
Yeah, totally. Then we all had a pee break. And naturally, me being me, I took the opportunity to talk a bit more about why the Avengers game is so good. It's like, I bought the game again and then played through it all. And like, I have a problem. I played like 100 hours of that game across 2 platforms, and it's like, god damn it. It's not even that good.
Insane.
Yeah.
That's great.
Look, it's a problem. Anyway, all right. Issue 9, Die in Flames. Yes.
Hell yeah. Good reference. Back to issue 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Love
totally.
It.
Oh my god, it is. I did not even catch that. Yep. 100% a reference back to issue 1. Basically, it's Vin's turn to scream mother this time. think he even says mummy at one point.
Yeah.
And Virginia basically, he's doing this as Virginia is inquiring with the rest of the family as to like where he is. Viv is like being like a teenage daughter or trying to act like one, and is like, I told you not to phase through my door. Stop invading my privacy. Just hack into his brain to check for his location. And then Vision does the classic dad thing of being like, he's getting older. He'll start doing things where he doesn't want to see. He's turned off his location or whatever.
Yeah.
which is
sure.
pretty neat.
It's great.
And then basically most of this issue is just like more backstory on Victor. So this is why I mentioned earlier when we see kind of his stuff with the Runaways. I think Chase Stein, that now that I'm looking at it, he's the kid of Victor Stein. I looked at who that character was. He's like, his name is like the Handsome Man or something, or like the Handsome Kid.
Yes.
He's just very, very dumb character, but I like that he got
Just a good-looking person, apparently.
Yeah, totally.
That's his superpower.
Basically, it's like panels of flashing back to that, interspersed with panels of Vin being electrocuted, which, you know, great. We learned that Victor uses vibranium to control his pain, which is very cool. It's apparently it has like some vibrating properties that gradually go away, basically. And so he can like hold it, and if he's like struggling with something, it like calms his android system or something, I think, which is cool. And we also see like panels of him fighting various people, including Wolverine, Skrull, Victor Von Doom, and someone else who I couldn't quite work out who that was. And then they kind of continue to struggle, and we find out that Victor joined Avengers AI, which was a thing that Vision created for like a bunch of the AI characters.
And I remember this. I have this.
Oh, really?
Of course you do.
I think there was a Age of Ultron series when we were collecting comics.
There was a new one.
Yeah, and I ended
That's
up
awesome.
collecting most of them.
Yep.
And yeah, this was one of the side stories.
Yeah, right.
Was the Avengers AI series, and I'm pretty sure I have all of them. So this was cool because I'm like, I totally remember
awesome.
that.
That's awesome. Yeah, so basically he did that with Vision for a bit, and when he went to the location, you know, base, whatever, he found a hand forged out of vibranium that used to belong to Ulysses Claw, Andy Serkis, you know, great guy.
The cuttlefish.
big arm.
Cuttlefish. Cuttlefish.
There.
The weird like jelly hand.
Yeah, and basically Victor has like a similar arm in this, so I thought that was kind of neat that he's clearly like. I thought initially that he'd like jacked it into himself, but then you find out no, he was just using it for like the vibrating properties or whatever. Back in the present day, Vin lets out a laser from his head in self-defense. Rip George and Nora, this is how they die. The laser just goes through everything and like blows up their house.
Yeah, I will say, cool thing here because in issue 1, when they say like one of the family is gonna blow their house up or whatever, like they'll die in the flames because of how like kind of hostile and intense their interaction was. It seems like that was going to be done in hate.
Yeah.
It's like intentional.
Yeah, and you see like Virginia already kind of being a pretty intense character in issue 1, so you just kind of go, oh yeah, like one of them's going to go nuts, probably Virginia, she'll blow their house up because they're not nice to them.
Yeah.
But this was like an accident, and it kind of twists what you assume was going to happen in the first place. So it was like spoilers, but in a different way that at least I expected. I don't know if you guys kind of...
Yeah, they do. They subvert those expectations.
That's it. Yeah. It's really cool. They do it. They do it in a really interesting way. I liked that.
Yeah, it's no Ryan Johnson.
Oh gosh, that's a whole other podcast. Basically, the other thing I was just going to note on that is it's a really cool thing that they don't actually say they die here, so you have to pay attention to the fact that like they mention they died in the flames earlier. Like you get it a bit later as well, but it's like a little bit ambiguous here, which I thought was neat. I mean, their house did blow up, but it's just like show don't tell. It's good use of that kind of thing. And then we get a final collection of flashbacks with Victor. We learn how he got his spy mission because basically Avengers AI disbanded. And he eventually the claw hand ran out of like its special properties. And he was pretty down and destitute. And then the Avengers came to him and were like, Vision's a bit sus. we need you to go and check up on him, see what's going on there. And he's like, well, yeah, sure. And maybe they'll have some vibranium, I wonder. Turns out they did.
Yeah.
The piano's vibranium. We learned that for the first time here.
Yeah.
So that's why when he was talking to Virginia earlier, he was so interested in like playing it. And like he was like, oh, I can feel it out. I'm so good at this. And it was like, oh, I see why now.
It's very good.
And then, after this flashback, we see Virginia and Vision phase into the house where the fight occurred. Victor's like in shock basically, and Vin's lying on the floor and it's unconscious. And Vision basically later discovers that he's dead, or the equivalent of for a robot.
Yeah.
And then they say something like, basically, they say something really dramatic again to end the issue, but it's basically that this was the final trigger for the ensuing fight with the Avengers that it's very clear is like now going to happen in the following issues, and his fall into madness. And then issue 10, all will return to normal. So this one's a pun on Will's name.
It is. This is my fault.
Yeah. So Tom doesn't get negative for this.
No. No.
Will
basically,
I got it.
Yeah.
I'm the pro.
Absolutely. This great first page. Vision clicks his lighter, that is the gift from Cap, the D-Day one, on and off, and just in like darkness, and you slowly zoom in on his eyes, those like horrible, disturbing eyes. It's just, again, great way to set the tone for the rest of that issue. Then we get literally like, it's not really a conversation, it's just Vision talking to Virginia. She just stands there emotionless like she does a lot, as they're like preparing for bed, and basically Vision is going through like the circumstances of what happened and like the fact that Victor killed Vin, and is like, I've run it through a bunch of like I think he says like religious and philosophical traditions, and I've come to the conclusion that in all of them this is unjust. And so he's like, he basically is like, does a whole spiel about it, and then he's like, I've come to the conclusion that, but he can't get out the final words of it, which I think is really neat. It's like the first time he malfunctions like Virginia. Yeah. Basically, he wants to kill Victor, but he just can't get it out. And I thought, good.
It just shows like his pure goodness.
Yeah, totally.
He's like, I know that this seems to be the right thing to do philosophically, but I'm killing someone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
We now get like the reveal that the Visions are under house arrest, so the Avengers have like placed a protective barrier around them. Just 0 to 100. Like, we just all of a sudden it's like, you're stuck in here. Kids can't go to school.
This feels relevant.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, totally.
They're just locked down.
Yeah.
Sparky the dog trips the alarm, basically, and Virginia, like, really creepily sings Row, Row, Row Your Boat again, like, repeating a bunch of the words.
Yeah.
Lingers on the final phrase, life is but a dream. Obviously very poignant, given the whole theme of everything.
Yeah. It ain't a dream!
It ain't a dream. Or is it?
Or is it? It's
like kind of left ambiguous about like how much of it is though. That's the interesting thing. I'll chat about that at the end. But yeah.
Please.
Next up, we get a cute scene of Viv and Vision praying together for Vin's soul to be at rest. But they're like, it seems unlikely that there would be a god. Also, that he'd have a soul. So first of all, I pray that he has a soul. Then I pray that he has a god. Then I pray that the soul be at rest. And I was like, that's really cute.
Yeah,
and Vision's like, I'll do it with you. And as they do that, they flash back over the 4 gifts, most of which have had some kind of significance at this point. We learn that the lighter is made out of vibranium as well. Just a lot of vibranium going on. But Victor didn't get his hands on that one. And then Vision then pulls his frickin' eye out.
Yeah, he does.
Which is great. And he replays a recording of Vin reciting Shakespeare to him, which Vision is like ignoring him. He's like, I'm on an important phone call with the Avengers, and Vin's just going and going and going. Yeah. And at the end, he's like, what do you think, Dad? And Vision's just like, look, I didn't listen.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, poor Vin.
Yeah.
Poor Vin.
It's interesting that he has a video of him, because it seems like, how does he have that recording of the actual, like, a video of him, like a 3D rendering of him doing that, but he wasn't listening and he wasn't probably not looking at him.
But also, I feel like there's easier ways to do a projection than removing your eye.
Yeah.
You could
Oh,
probably
totally. Can't you just project it from your eye? Like,
Yeah,
that's the
just
whole
look,
thing.
or like from
Yeah.
the middle of his head or something.
Yeah.
Or just
So it's-
remember it.
Yeah, all right. But back down.
But of course they got to pull out
Tom
the eye
Cruise.
because it's a creepy ass comic. That's
Yeah, it's true. We got to lean into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this feels poignant, but I was writing this at like late last night as I got through the final issues, and I was like, this feels poignant, but my brain doesn't understand Shakespeare at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go into a deep dive about why this matters.
Good
Yeah.
call.
And then after watching that, Vision then suits up, uses the lighter to break through the protective barrier around the house, which I thought was very cool. And then he flies away, and just goes away. And then we get a cute little bit of banter between Lady Thor and Iron Man. It's like, we're going to fight each other. And it's interrupted by Baby Nova, the first reveal of actual Baby Nova.
Yeah.
Who informs them that the Visions have escaped. Panic ensues. End of issue. Issue 11.
It's good stuff.
And this one is called You and I Were Born for Better Things.
Oh, yes.
This is like kind of the climax comic. Basically, Virginia and Vin discuss going after Vision at the dining table, with Sparky just there saying like "roof," but in a robotic tone. And then they conclude that basically whatever they do, they'll probably be shut off, so they might as well go after him anyway. And then this is the big face-off against the Avengers. We cut to Vision. He's just floating in the air and like up against basically just a bunch of Avengers. But basically there's a cool little detail in the background where there's a billboard of Wonder Man as like an actor in a movie. Like it's like got the billboard for that movie up there. And then when we crash into a cinema later, the movie is playing and I'm like, yeah, nice.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't pick
you
up
did
on
there.
those. That's sick.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Basically, Vision and Tony argue for a bit, and then Vision lasers him in the arc reactor. Basically, all over this bit, the altercation between Vision and Ultron is like they're basically Vision's creation is narrated over the top. So it's very ominous. Basically, Vision's like, "I am evil, you will be evil," and that's Ultron, and then Vision's like, "Oh, but maybe humans are good." And basically that across the top, but way more ominous than I said that.
Just add a bit of reverb to it. It'll sound good.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man says, "I'll poop." And it is Iron Man. And I kind of want to, I have ideas for that. I want to Photoshop Spider-Man next to Tony at the end of Endgame. Just
Good.
poop.
Poop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just copy the speech bubble off.
Excellent.
And Virginia basically is like stumbling over her words and confesses to Viv that she was the one who killed CK. And Viv is like, "I loved him." But she smashes the table like exactly like her mum. Poor Tables. Tables just getting
Bad time for
absolutely
Tables.
Yeah.
destroyed.
Animals and tables. Just
Animals
not
and
having a
Tables,
good
yeah.
time.
No.
And then she just very creepily either repeats the words, "It goes straight through me," like from the initial conversation as she phases up through the roof. And it's yeah.
Everything's just
Again.
getting sad.
Yeah.
It's getting sad. Poor kids, basically. That's the sum up. The
Yeah.
CK was nice. Chris was nice. He got killed.
Yep.
Finn was nice. He got killed. Viv was nice. She got stabbed. The person she liked got killed. Really, poor kids.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
The nice thing I will say is that it's not really a spoiler because we're basically at the end already. Viv does survive, and
Yeah.
she's now in big team up issues.
Sick.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I hope they find a way to bring her in, like
Yeah,
to be part
totally.
of the new Avengers and stuff.
That would be cool.
Viv Vision is very cool. There's some stuff she does with what's that? Champions. Which
Yeah,
is like
the Contest of Champions stuff.
Nice.
The kids team team up that they have. That's like a more modern thing that Marvel are doing. I really like that they're like basically it is still a canon thing, even though it's like a wild comic. I think that's really neat.
Totally.
And Viv does go on to do some cool stuff, so I will just mention that. And then we go back to Vision fighting the Avengers. So this is where we see all the Avengers. Lady Thor gets chokeslammed.
Hell yeah.
Captain Marvel and Beast have Vision's fist phase through them. Baby Nova gets thrown into Captain Falcon's shield. I think Jean Grey, but I'm not 100%, gets a laser to the head. Black Panther also gets the phase chest thingy. Spider-Mans get concrete thrown at them. I say Spider-Mans because it's Miles and Peter. And then we get Monica Rambeau, Doctor Strange, and Miss Marvel also get
wrecked.
Also get wrecked. They didn't. It wasn't really described as to how they did, but I was like, yeah, they get messed up.
They definitely get wrecked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we shift the narration to Virginia's creation, so it's kind of like puts them up against each other. And meanwhile, she's killing the dog.
Yep.
What the heck?
Insane.
The dog has died twice now, and it's just terrible. We learn that basically she retains a lot of the memories of Wanda. She's just not really sure where they came from, obviously, because that's her memory bank or whatever. She does remember the details of how one must like properly consume the petals, though. And we then come back to... Oh, wait. I think at that point she consumes the petals. I think we see that there.
So she's just murdered.
The doggy.
And then Vision then encounters Wanda and Agatha. And basically... He injures Wanda here, and it looks like he kills her.
Does.
And then basically he's like, Wanda's like, we were always different to everyone else. That's why we worked. And he's like, but you don't understand. All I ever wanted was to be just like everyone else, which my heart. It's very sad. And then Agatha the ghost cries and walks away. Basically, she doesn't really there for any reason. I guess you can't kill a ghost, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
They finally get to Victor. He gets murdered. Not by Vision, though. No. Virginia comes along, and it's like, basically, it's kind of neat. They're finally aligned in their goal. Like, Vision's goal was always to have, like, a normal family, just, like, a human family. And Virginia was always, like, butting against that the entirety of the series, but she's finally, like, aligned with that goal of them having a family. It's like, that's romance, baby. When you tear out your brother-in-law's android heart.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's Christmas, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of like the climax of it. We have a nice little wrap-up issue here. It's the name of this one is Spring, which not as good as the other names, but is kind of representative of the rest of the comics.
They probably have springs in them.
Probably.
Hey.
As well. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, it's pretty good then. Yeah.
That put it up a little bit.
Yeah, basically.
Matt King, Tom King.
Tom King.
Who's
Yeah,
Matt
no,
King?
it changes his first name now.
Matt King is that
Viner guy.
That Vine guy.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
He's in. He wrote this.
Yeah.
He did.
So Detective Lynn is back. He gets a call from Virginia, and basically she admits guilt to everything. She's like, I hacked into Vision's code, and I altered it at like important parts where he wouldn't go against his programming, basically to cause him to act out of character and take control of his free will. And it's a little bit ambiguous for a second, and we're like, oh, is that actually what happened? I wonder. So she then finishes the call and drinks from the water vase, which, as Josh mentioned earlier, is toxic to everything.
Yes.
And so we then, Vision kind of re-enters the house. It's all darkened and stuff. And we get the initial narration from that first page, which was really good.
Yeah.
It's repeated. And then basically they discuss her confession. And then we get the reveal that like she lied to the detectives basically in order to protect Vision and Vivian because she wants them. Oh, it's not Vivian. That's the first time I stumbled over that. Also, when I was writing this, every time I wrote Vin, I was like, Vin Diesel. I had a mental image of Vin Diesel in this comic.
Yes.
Please.
Amazing.
De-aging.
Yeah, totally. God. Now I'm just thinking of the freaking Arc trailer.
Oh, yeah. The shiny
So
boy.
weird. Anyway, basically, she slowly dies in the arms of Visions across a few of these pages because the corrosive effects of the water are slowly taking their toll on her.
I really like this as well because Vision's just phase out and let it just pass through you and then you'll be okay. She's just
totally.
like, nah, not doing that.
Yeah.
It's powerful. I like it.
Yeah, but she doesn't stop from revealing that the vision she saw when she was eating the Everbloom was a Vision destroying everything, the like raise the world thing that they were talking about. And so she's like, there's a really nice line here where as she's about to die, she says, you saved the world 37 times, I saved it once.
Yeah.
And I thought that's really nice. Nice way to wrap that up. In the final few pages, we get the reveal that the narrator of these past 5 or 6 issues was Wanda. Basically, like the narration text has been read this whole, it's been a different color this whole time it's been red and white, so you can kind of like guess it basically, but it's nice to get the confirmation of that. And then she's talking to Viv as they walk along the National Mall in DC, which is like where the Smithsonian is and everything. Basically, I wrote here, surprise, Wanda's alive, because he murders everyone. Does he not kill Wanda? But then Agatha's really sad, so it seemed like he killed Wanda.
It really did.
Yeah.
He like reaches into a chest or a head or something.
That's what I thought.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wanda's also, so this is when I wanted to get into like how much of this is real, how much of it was a vision, because Wanda says, when she's talking to Viv, she's like, I wanted to share with you my vision of what happened. So, but then it all seemingly did happen as they wrap this up. Virginia and Vin are gone. Sparky lives. They like recreate him again. That dog is alive for the third time. And Vision and Viv continue to go about their regular life. Basically, I don't know. I just think I like how they kind of leave it ambiguous, but I'm also very confused. Like,
how much was real? Yeah. And I guess also like capping everything off in one issue and it not bleeding into this specific issue also somewhat contains it. It's like that is the vision in those issues, and then this is potentially real.
Yeah. But then stuff carries over, so it's weird reality stuff, which is cool, I guess. It's like it's some of the best stuff around these two characters, Vision and Wanda.
Yep.
That's why I'm really like, that's the main reason. Like, out of all the things that are coming out, WandaVision is actually the thing I'm most excited about, which is why I'm glad it's coming out soon, because like they just mess around with reality so well in Marvel stuff. I think that's one of their strongest points when they go really hard on it.
Yeah.
There's some good lines here. Wanda's like, Virginia did the right thing, or she did the wrong thing, or she just did what everyone does. She saved what she could, and when she was done, she was done.
It's a good line.
Very good.
Tom King.
Tom King.
What a man.
What a dude. Yeah. Good writing.
I'm glad. I'm sure he's really happy that you said that too.
Yeah.
No one.
Congrats.
No one's given him any commendations.
You're not bad. Yeah. You're all right. You're all right. You'll go a long way.
Yeah.
Keep talking, Ben.
I'm nearly done. There's a bit more Merchant of Venice here. Again, Shakespeare, 12 issues. Just, you can work it out yourself. But basically Wanda uses that to help explain to Viv why humans sacrifice their lives for people they love. And I'm sure it means something. But again, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Love these comics, but as you can tell from how long this has all gone on, there is so much in here. You could literally go deep dive into like almost every text box of this comic, and I think that's why it's so acclaimed, because it's just like constantly referencing stuff. The last few frames of the comic are like so creepy, and I love it. Basically, it's Vision looking over a like android body that he's recreating, and he's singing "Row, row, row your boat," and obviously ends with "Life is but a dream," as he's seemingly about to recreate his wife.
Yeah,
a new Vision. Who knows? We never know. I don't think we ever find out, but I like that.
Yeah,
it's so cool. And as I was reading this, I'm like, is there another one?
Is
like,
there more?
in like some other comic somewhere else, in like an Avengers comic or something? Does that ever come up again, or is it just a cold ending and then never referred to again?
Yeah, I like that it's very mechanical, the body we see as well, though, so we're not sure. Like, it could be a Vision. Maybe he's recreating Ultron. Like, who knows?
Well,
like,
weirdly, that's what I got. That it was like a real dark thing of he's making the villain to his
like
dream.
That vision that they talked about that was always going to happen about him raising the world would still happen eventually.
Yeah. It's a super cool set of comics that is just, it's one of those things where it's like, it wouldn't work on film. Like, there's a reason they're just pulling upon this and bits and pieces to make WandaVision. It's like, this belongs in the medium it is. Yeah. It couldn't function on screen, I don't think.
Totally. It works so well as a comic. I'm very interested to see what they do pull from it.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely, from the trailers, I'm getting the vibe that it's one of the things that inspired it.
Yes.
So, kind of be interesting to come back in a couple of months and be like, oh, that's what they did actually take from this.
I wouldn't hate if it's like a series-long thing of him, at the very least, just because we want to, building Viv, like, throughout the show.
Yeah.
Just, he's got a shed out the back that he's just he's
And then we
secretly toiling.
get an Ironheart, we're getting Kamala Khan, and they're all members of Champions. Maybe one day we get Champions.
Miles will be around.
Ooh.
Baby Nova, maybe we get Baby Nova.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past him. I feel like that's certainly. You've got Hawkeye and Kate, like they could lead it, they could head it up. Or them or
West Coast Avengers.
Yeah, or Ant-Man, Wasp, and Stinger, or whichever one they end up going with. Mm-hmm. They're also there.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Yes.
So much potential. It's great.
Exciting times. You can kind of see the links being made at this point, which is very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's wrap it up. This is long. Thank you, you two, for indulging me. I was like, initially we're just going to do the first 6 issues, and I messaged Will the other day, and I was like, it's so good, can we do all 12? Yes, let's do it.
And as I started reading it, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to read this whole thing, Will. So, like, I'm just going to, because Will was like, yeah, I'm just going to smash through the whole thing. And then Will messaged me back, he's like, oh yeah, Ben said we're reading the whole thing instead. I'm like, oh, good, cool, thanks for the heads up anyway. Yeah. I was going to do it, but
I'm glad we were all on the same page then.
Yeah.
I think, good one to start with. I promise future podcasts probably won't be this long.
Yeah.
This is like one of the most in-depth comics that you will read.
Yeah. Marvel comics generally aren't this dense. Like,
no.
They're not usually like this kind of, like,
a lot of them
analysis of the human form.
Totally. A lot of them you can skip over the text. Or, like, at least skim over it. But this one, it's just, like, a lot of text.
Yeah.
As we went through, it's, like, all important. It's wild. Anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for listening, everyone. It's been real fun. It's fun to be doing stuff with these guys.
Yay!
Been, like,
hell yeah!
Vaguely planning it for a little bit now, but it's nice to finally do something.
You finally got to the host status.
Yeah,
finally.
It's happened.
Still at number 4, but we'll work our way.
You've got a year, but you've got a year.
Totally.
That's great.
He'll go back to Melbourne, which is technically where you are. So it's like really you're on level playing field.
We can do literal things together.
You definitely
That'd be great.
We can. It's exciting. Except I was like, before the break, Josh and I were like, let's do things together. And now he's back in lockdown. So, and he's stuck in another state. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
That's how it goes in 2021 now.
Yeah.
Don't we
Fantastic.
love that? Anyway, next time in like a month or however long it is between these two, we'll work out when exactly they're coming out.
Yes.
Alongside the other podcasts. We are doing House of M, which is also very cool. Basically, there's a bunch of House of M comics. Just read the core 1 to 8. I'll put a little notification about it in the Discord for everyone.
Yeah, sweet.
If you want to, I mean, I've done it. You can read all the extra side comics. You'll have to Google a lot of stuff because there's some really obscure characters in some of them. But it does like give some extra context, which is really cool.
Yeah. Nice.
But you can also just read the 1 to 8 and you'll get a good enough gist of it. That's also kind of tying into WandaVision. So hopefully by then we will have seen a bit of it and we might be able to refer to some of that.
We'll know what it is.
Yeah,
and
nice.
If you want to check out that Discord where there will be a link, you can go to patreon.com/each to their own. Just $2 US will get you into our super secret Discord.
Yes.
$2 US would be approximately the price of being able to create one vision, I would say.
Yes, probably, given the exchange rates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
100%.
For sure.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks. I've been Will.
I've been Josh.
I've been Ben.
See you, everyone.
Catch you next time.
Bye.